Manos, and today I'll be speaking about the releasing of California prisoners early. Okay, so when it comes to talking about releasing prisoners early, I'll usually think, oh no, well, if we release them early, they're gonna harm us, or we're not gonna be safe enough. However, there's research saying that if we release them early, this could actually benefit us. So today my proposition is the early release of prisoners in California benefits the state. To support this, I'll be talking about how the early release of prisoners will reduce costs to the state, create space for those serious offenders, and the release of prisoners does not really harm the state and its people. So my first point is that the early release of prisoners will reduce costs to the state. Currently, the cost to have a prisoner in prison is high. According to the Legislative Analyst Office, which is expertise for analysis of state budget, it costs an average of $47,000 per year to keep a person in prison. This cost keeps going higher and higher every year. Since 2001, the average annual has increased by $19,500. Michael Jacob, a former New York Corrections Commissioner, stated that the growth of spending on corrections and state budgets exceeds that for education, healthcare, social services, transportation, and environmental protection. He also stated that in many states, one can literally see the money move in the budget from primary and secondary education to prisons. In other words, we're wasting a lot of money in prisons where that money could actually go to other things such as social services, transportation, or education. Michael Romano, a Stanford expert in law, said that the sentencing reforms will save hundreds of millions of dollars. My second point is that releasing prisoners with less serious crimes will create space for serious offenders. So currently in California, the prisons are crowded. 14,000 to 15,000 inmates sleep in 3-level bunk beds. This arrangement gives them around 6 square feet of living space. About 170,000 inmates are packed in California's 33 prisons, which were designed to hold only 100,000. So there's 70,000 more inmates in prison that we should have. Also, according to research by the Pew Center, which specializes on social issues, public opinion, and demographic trends, our nation now has the greatest number of prisoners of any country in the world. Timothy Healthy, an US attorney, stated that there's nearly 1 in every 100 adults in America. There's nearly 1 in every 100 adults in America in prison or jail. This rate is 5 to 10 times higher than Western Europe and other democracies. My third point is that early release of prisoners does not harm the state and people. So in the 1980s, the number of inmates in Georgia prisons were almost doubled, but the crime kept going up. There were 8 violent crimes for every 1,000 people in the state. And on the contrary, New York had fewer states inmates every year since 1999, and their crime rates continue to drop. So there's really no correlation between having more inmates in prison and less crime, or having less inmates in prison and more crime. Stephen B. Wright, President and Senior of Council of Southern Center for Human Rights, said that when you're 18 to 24, there's a lot of testosterone, no education, no hope. They're involved in drugs and robbing people, and they're a real menace to society. But a lot of people, when they're 35 to 40, they've matured and they're different people. Also, the Stanford law expert Romano said that it's difficult to make across-the-board generalizations. The data so far indicates that prisoners released early under recent reforms to California sentencing laws are not engaging in any type of criminal behavior that some people fear. So California is currently releasing some prisoners, and it's showing that they're not really doing the crimes that we expected them to do. Okay, so the 3 points I stated today were that releasing the prisoners will reduce costs to the state, it will create space for more serious offenders, and it will not harm the state and people. That is why I believe that releasing prisoners early will benefit the California state.
All right, structurally everything is sound. You've got the proposition clearly identified, good layout of the preview. You signpost the points as you get to them. Sometimes the delivery could be a little bit more focused, but I think you've got good information on most of the points. There's data on each of the points, which I appreciated, and some of it is pretty good data. There's statistical data, some factual data, and pieces of testimony spread throughout the presentation, and so that's pretty solid there. All right, I'm rushing a little bit because